to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the post for Husker Nation, brought to you by X-Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a firm believer that the month of January was created by the good Lord himself, just so that we'd have a bunch of extra time to talk about college football. Now, I'm going to stand by that statement whether you agree with me or not. But do me a favor. There's a lot of Carriker Chronicles content that's going to be coming out. If you missed it, go back and check out my interview with Grant Wistrom earlier this week, Garrett Nelson the week before. I'm interviewing Amon Green. That'll go out early next week. So stay tuned. Lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of Husker football news to talk about throughout this off season. All right. Now today is my biggest takeaways from our transfer portal class so far. We may get a couple of transfers here and there as this offseason continues to go on for the next few months. Now, do me a favor. All right, if you're happy with the job that Matt Rule and his staff have done so far recruiting high school kids, transfer portal kids, the way that they've been grinding, if you watch them on social media, they're all over the place. Okay, they have been grinding. If you're happy with the job they've done so far, smash that like button. But when you look at our current transfer portal class here at the University of Nebraska right here, right now, all right, we have 11 transfers. 7 of them are from the SEC. 3 from Georgia, 3 from Florida, 1 from Texas A&M, 2 from the ACC, 1 from the Big 12, and 1 from the Pac-12. 6 on offense, 4 on defense, and a special teams player. Now, when you look at the rankings, the stars, things of that nature when it comes to these guys, all right, coming out of high school, all right, 2 of these guys were 5-star players, 6 of them were 4-star players. That's some talent right there, ladies and gentlemen. And 2 of them were 3-star players. Now, the long snapper, our special teamer, if you will, Mr. Marco Ortiz, they don't really assign star rankings for long snappers, but depending on where you look, he was the top-rated long snapper in the transfer portal, and that was a place where we had a void. So he's going to step right in. He's going to fill that nicely in a place where we needed someone to step in. Now, obviously, okay, these were high school rankings. All right. I will never forget, though, Coach Rule, something he said to me when we spoke. He said, and I quote, all right, I wrote it down, and I quote, "We've always wondered what it'd be like to recruit to a place where the logo speaks for itself. If that ever happened, it would be scary," end quote. Now, I'm fully well aware, okay, and keep in mind, all right, multiple of these transfer portal players are still 4 or 5-star players, you know, even in the transfer portal. Obviously, when you're rated a certain way in high school and then you transfer, sometimes you're viewed differently, okay? Some of these guys are still viewed very highly. Some of these guys have got to kind of reprove themselves and be developed, and hopefully Matt Rule is that guy. Another Coach Rule quote that I love, okay? And I quote, "I want guys who want to come here for the right reasons. I don't want guys who are coming here saying, how big is the NIL deal? I'm going to get from these people. How big is the NIL deal I'm going to get from these people? I want kids that want to come here to get an education, win at football, and have a chance to play in the NFL," end quote. In other words, he's not solely focused on the flashy signee and overvaluing the stars. Now, don't misunderstand me. You need talent. Obviously, you need talent. The faster somebody runs, the quicker they're going to get to the end zone. Simple concept. We all get that. But keep in mind, you know, when you overvalue certain things and you just put a bunch of money out there to get a bunch of talented guys, maybe they don't always come for the right reasons. Look at Texas A&M a year ago. I'm not trying to bash them, but they had the #1 recruiting class in the history of college football. Less than a year later, they have more kids in the transfer portal, okay, than any other school in America. All right, last time I looked anyways. I'll have to double check that. But here's what excites me the most. Not the stars or even the talent. Again, that's very, very, very important, okay, because you obviously need that. But, you know, there's good football players who are on track teams, but the track team is also full of a lot of talent and a lot of not great football players as well. I hope that point makes sense and you're picking up what I'm putting down. But what excites me the most is Matt Rule is known for getting the most out of his players and developing talent. Barring his last year at Baylor, from a pure talent standpoint, this may be the most talented roster he's had. Okay, it'll take time to develop it. Okay, he also has several inexperienced players. All right, a lot of inexperienced guys, especially wide receiver, O-line. I'll talk about that here in a minute. They're also putting in new schemes on offense, new schemes on defense. He has to fix the culture. He has a lot of work to do. Okay, but I'm excited to watch this team improve over time, over the next couple of years, and I'm excited to see where they can be 3 or 4 years from now. I'm quoting a lot of Matt Rule things because when I saw the type of athletes that were getting in this transfer report, I was like, man, it's hard not to get excited, but you know, you got to temper those expectations. But I like the things that our head coach has to say. And here's another quote that he has that I like. He says, and I quote, "I think it's my job to look at a player and not see what he is, okay, but see what he can be. See them 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Okay, end quote. That was Matt Rule. So, got some talented guys coming in. Got some guys that, their rankings from high school to the transfer portal rankings didn't change. Some guys did drop a little bit. Matt Rule, his staff, that's what they take pride in. Finding diamonds in the rough, developing players, and getting that talent out of them. All right. Now, he's also talked in the past, about how games are won and lost during his 6 a.m. mat drills. In other words, building toughness. Now, looking a little bit more at the actual transfers themselves, the players. We have 2 offensive linemen. All right, a 2-year starter from Arizona State and Ben Scott. Now, he's probably going to start immediately, make an impact, which helps because our center from last year, Trent Hickson, is no longer with us. Gigantic Georgia transfer, 6'8", 345 pounds, Jacob Hood. Now, big-time potential, young player, may not play right away. We'll see what happens. Okay, 2 wide receivers came in, Billy Kemp and Josh Fleeks. Now, again, going to help with the experience. We don't have a whole lot of wide receivers with experience. Got a lot of wide receivers with talent, for sure. Okay. And Fleeks also had success with Rule at Baylor. In fact, he had more success his first couple years in college with Rule than he did his next couple years as he got older with Dave Aranda during his time at Baylor, probably why he came and joined Rule at Nebraska. All right, we added one tight end. I actually have already done a video on Eric Gilbert. Now, this is a guy who was considered the top tight end, not only in the country, but in the previous decade at the time that he came out of high school, okay, when it comes to his ability. All right, 1 quarterback. All right, Jeff Sims. Now, this is a guy who started for multiple years at Georgia Tech. He's a guy who's going to come in and compete for the job right away. We have 2 quarterbacks who have started at other schools, multiple years of starting experience. Okay, and the top 2 guys are going to be competing for our starting quarterback job. So we should have a solid starter and a solid backup. That would be nice. All right, defensively, all right, we brought in an edge rusher, D lineman, secondary, and linebacker. Now, if you look at Corey Collier, who transferred from Florida, he was a top 5 safety/corner coming out of high school. Edge rusher MJ Sherman from Georgia was a 5-star coming out of high school. D lineman Elijah Judy from Texas A&M, very highly recruited. His film is very exciting to watch when you go back to high school. Now, he's a young guy, okay, coming from A&M, and linebacker Chief Borders. Now, great size, great athleticism, easy for me to say, 6'5", 242 pounds. All very talented. There is a reason they're in the portal, okay? Can Matt Rule develop that raw talent? In fact, that's my question for you fine folks at home. Can Matt Rule develop that raw talent? Let me know in the comments below. Do you believe he will? How many more transfer portal guys do you think we'll get? Again, I'm going to look at the wide receivers. I'm going to look at D-line. Okay, we got some guys who can start, but we ain't got a lot of depth. You look at the offensive line. That offensive line could look completely different next year with Teddy Prohaska coming back, Nadine Newilly. You got Scott coming from Arizona State. It could be a completely different O-line. And how do you feel about the offseason nickname Corn Dogs? Let me know in the comments below, offseason nickname Corn Dogs, because we have so many Georgia transfers coming over. Georgia Bulldogs, Nebraska Corn Huskers. How do you feel about that? Let me know. A lot of talent. I'm excited to see what Rule can do with it. That's my biggest takeaway. Go Big Red Nose. Remember, throw the bug.